Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you're about to witness one of the most brutal, unexpected, and quietly defining moments in early heavyweight boxing careers. A fight that didn't just test power, but patience, pressure, and pure grit. The sun hung high over California, casting a perfect glow across the ring at the Home Depot Center. It looked like a calm, picture-perfect day. But inside those ropes, something entirely different was about to unfold. Two men stepped forward, both carrying ambition, both carrying power, but only one would walk away with a statement that would echo far beyond this moment. In one corner stood a young, hungry fighter, just 22 years old. Andy Ruiz Jr. didn't look like the typical heavyweight prospect. He carried extra weight, his physique didn't scream elite athlete, and at first glance many underestimated him. But those who had studied him closely knew better. Beneath that massive frame was something dangerous: fast hands, sharp instincts, and an engine that didn't slow down. Across from him stood Jonte Willis, older, more experienced, and carrying himself with the calm confidence of someone who had seen a bit more inside the ring. Willis wasn't here to be a stepping stone. He had power, resilience, and a style that could frustrate any opponent, especially one still finding his rhythm at this level. From the very first bell, there was no feeling out process, no cautious circling, no hesitation. Ruiz came forward immediately. He didn't waste time trying to impress with style. He came to impose himself. Every step forward carried intent. Every punch carried weight. And within seconds, it became clear. This wasn't going to be a technical chess match. This was going to be a war of pressure. Willis tried to stay on the outside, just as expected. He moved, he jabbed, he looked for angles. But Ruiz didn't care about angles. He cared about distance and closing it. He stormed forward, cutting, off space, forcing Willis into exchanges whether he wanted them or not. And when Ruiz got close, the difference was immediate. His hands were fast, shockingly fast. Not just for a heavyweight, but for any fighter. He dug into the body with thudding shots, each one echoing like a drumbeat against Willis's ribs. He followed upstairs with short, compact punches that didn't look flashy, but carried real damage. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't polished, but it was effective. Willis felt it early, and every time he felt it, he reacted the same way. He grabbed, clinch after clinch, trying to slow the momentum, trying to buy time, trying to disrupt the rhythm that Ruiz was building. It was survival instinct. Because when Ruiz let his hands go, there was no denying the power behind them. But Ruiz didn't get frustrated. That's what made this moment so telling. A younger fighter, less experienced, might have rushed recklessly, might have burned out, might have lost composure. But Ruiz stayed patient. He kept pressing, kept working, kept digging to the body. And slowly, the damage began to show. By the end of the early rounds, swelling had started to form under Ruiz's eye. It wasn't a clean fight. There were clashes, rough moments, even a low blow mixed into the chaos. But Ruiz didn't step back. If anything, it only pushed him forward harder, because this was his fight. Not a technical showcase, not a highlight reel of perfect boxing. This was pressure. Relentless, suffocating pressure. As the rounds progressed, Willis found moments of success. He landed a few clean shots, even snapped Ruiz's head back a couple of times. But every time, it looked like he might create space. Ruiz closed it again, and again, and again. It became a pattern, a rhythm. Willis would try to reset. Ruiz would crash the distance. Willis would clinch. Ruiz would break free and go right back to work, and the crowd started to feel it. This wasn't just a fight anymore. It was a slow grind, the kind that wears a man down mentally just as much as physically. Because there's something exhausting about facing an opponent who just won't stop coming, even when he's getting hit, even when his eye is swelling. Even when the fight gets messy, Ruiz kept moving forward like a machine. By the middle rounds, Willis's strategy became even more desperate. He started rushing in, not to attack cleanly, but to disrupt, to smother, to turn the fight into something ugly, something uncomfortable. He leaned in, used his head, tied Ruiz up in awkward positions. It wasn't pretty, but it was survival. And for a moment, it worked. Ruiz's rhythm slowed just slightly. The clean combinations turned into shorter bursts. The fight became more physical, more grinding. Shoulders bumped, elbows nudged, heads clashed. It was no longer about clean punches. It was about who could impose their will, and this is where the fight truly revealed something about Ruiz. Because even in that chaos, he adjusted. He started shortening his punches, compact hooks, quick uppercuts, subtle shifts inside the clinch. He wasn't just throwing anymore, he was thinking, adapting, learning in real time. That's the difference between a brawler and a fighter, and Willis felt it. Every time he rushed in recklessly, Ruiz began to time him. A short hook here, a sneaky uppercut there, nothing flashy, but each one chipped away at Willis's resistance. The swelling worsened, the fatigue crept in, and the pressure never stopped. By the later rounds, you could see it in Willis's movement. The bounce was gone. The sharpness had faded. He was still fighting, but now he was reacting more than acting, and Ruiz knew it. He started letting his hands go with more confidence, more conviction. The body shots came heavier. The headshots came quicker. The combinations flowed with a rhythm that hadn't been there early on. This was the turning point, because fights like this don't end with one punch. They end with accumulation, and Ruiz had been building that accumulation since the opening bell. Then, it happened, a moment that shifted everything. Willis, desperate to change the momentum, stepped in aggressively, rushing forward, looking to land something big. But this time, Ruiz was ready. Perfect spacing, perfect timing. A clean right hand landed, not wild, not desperate, precise, and you could see it immediately. The reaction. Willis staggered, just for a split second, but in boxing, that's all it takes. Ruiz saw it, and he didn't hesitate. He followed up, stepping in, closing the gap once again, but this time, not just to pressure. To finish. Another right hand, cleaner, sharper, and suddenly, Willis was in real trouble. Backed toward the ropes, his legs betraying him, his defense slowing just enough for the opening to widen. Ruiz unloaded, not recklessly, but with controlled aggression, each punch placed with intent. And then, the final shot landed, a crushing blow that snapped through the tension of the fight like a breaking point. Willis couldn't recover. The referee stepped in. It was over. Just like that, after rounds of grinding, clinching, surviving, it ended in an instant. Andy Ruiz Jr. stood victorious. Not just with a knockout, but with a statement, because this wasn't a clean, easy win. This wasn't a highlight built on flashy combinations and effortless dominance. This was earned, every second of it, through pressure, through patience, through adaptation, through proving that sometimes the most dangerous fighter isn't the one who looks the part, but the one who refuses to stop. And as the crowd reacted, as the moment settled in, one thing became clear. This wasn't just another fight on a card. This was a glimpse into what Ruiz could become. A fighter who doesn't rely on appearances, a fighter who thrives in chaos, a fighter who breaks opponents down piece by piece until there's nothing left. And if you watched closely that night, you didn't just see a knockout, you saw the foundation of something much bigger. Now let me ask you, did you expect Ruiz to dominate like that? Or did this fight completely change how you see him as a fighter? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you felt the intensity of this battle, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more deep cinematic breakdowns of the fights that truly define the sport.